Spurs this season, they can beat the best teams. 4-1 against the Thunder, 2-1 against the Rockets, 1-0 against Denver, 3-1 against the top three teams in the East, the only loss being the NBA Cup, Brou. Are you starting to believe that the San Antonio Spurs can win the title?
Yes, absolutely. And I actually think last night may have been a finals preview. I have more confidence that Detroit will get there than San Antonio. Obviously, Spurs have a tougher road. But that was a great game, very physical, good test for the Spurs because Detroit is maybe the most physical team.
Too much
in the league.
or
too physical?
From Pistons to Spurs, it felt like.
Well, you saying?
Yeah, it felt like they were almost like just trying to test Wemby and push him around.
They were. And he ended up adjusting.
Got pushed down.
He adjusted and had a big game, 21, 17, and 6. But that was a good test. But yes, bottom line is I think the Spurs can win it all. Last year, of course, I was hesitant about OKC. I didn't think they'd win it because they were so young. They were youngest team in the league. Spurs aren't that young. They've got some veterans in De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes, who won a championship with Golden State. So most of their guys are younger, but they do have some veterans. But today's game, Nick, is more geared toward youth. Like we all know the floor is spread. So teams that have youth, energy, athleticism, deep benches, like we saw with OKC, like Detroit, like San Antonio, these are teams that can thrive in today's game. So I do think you may see younger teams have more playoff success in the way the game's played now than the way it used to be. As far as depth, San Antonio has 8 players, 8 averaging 10 or more points. That's crazy. Yep. All right, and so they have it all. They obviously have a superstar go-to guy in Wemby. They've got other guys that can score, create their own shot in Stephon Castle, in De'Aaron Fox, not to mention a few other guys. They shoot the three well, so the floor is always spread. I know their percentage is like middle of the pack, about 34%, but they shoot it fairly well, enough to have that floor spread all the time, which opens up the driving lanes, not only for Wemby, but for the other guys I mentioned, Castle and Fox. Defensively, they're third in the league. Like, there's nothing they don't have except if you want to say playoff struggles or, playoff losses. Yep. But OKC didn't really have that last year. They had it against Dallas the year before. But I actually think they're very capable of winning the championship this year.
So they check all the boxes you mentioned, Brou, and they are in the mold of the Thunder.
Yep.
Like, to use what has become almost a cliche term at this point, if we are in the weak link era rather than the super team era, they don't have an obvious weak link. They have one MVP caliber super duper star like the Thunder did, and then 2 other really good players who might one day be stars in their own right in Fox and Castle, or might be star adjacent, similar to Chet and Jada, but are not, superstars, perennial all-NBA guys. And as you said, excellent offense, even better defense. But this is really, KW, a question about Wemby, and asking Wemby to make the finals and win a championship in his first ever playoff appearance would be wild. And it would be not quite unprecedented, but close to it. So here is, since the merger, the full list of Hall of Famers or league MVPs to win a championship in their first playoff run. Manu was not the best player on the team. Michael Cooper and McHale, not the best player on the team. Magic had Kareem. So
Kareem was MVP that year, too. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So the only guy who was the clear, even though Magic won Finals MVP, the only guy who it was, my team, I'm the best guy, is Bill Walton. And so you're right, the Thunder didn't have a lot of playoff, failures, the long road, but it wasn't Shai's first ever playoff game. and which is what this will be for Wemby. First ever playoff run. That's the thing that gives me the most pause, Brou.
No, look, that's fair. For context, that Walton team, Portland, it was their first time in the playoffs together. They were the youngest team to win a championship before OKC last year, I believe. And so there are a lot of similarities with them and this Thunder team. And look, you're right. And the reason that guys have had to go through playoff nightmares or struggles, whatever you want to call it, before winning championships is because a 7-game series is harrowing. Like, it's tough to see the same team 7 straight games. Early in the series, they know all your plays. You know all their plays. It gets physical. It gets chippy. It gets mentally exhausting. And so that is tough. And that will be a challenge for Wemby. But I'm not necessarily predicting them to win it, but I definitely think they are a legitimate contender and could win it all this year.
Go ahead, Nick.
So if they were to, so I built this graphic, Josh built this graphic for Brou at my request, because this is, I believe, the pretty consensus 12 greatest players ever, and what playoff run it took them to win their first title. Obviously, Russell and Magic, it was their first one. Russell that's such, it's an 8-team league. It's a different era, obviously. And the Celtics had been a great team prior to Russell getting there. Magic, we mentioned, had Kareem. If they were to do it, KW, then I would move to Brou's side of the table on the GOAT potential piece of this. I mean, we've never, in the modern era, we've never seen, Magic again, but Magic had, at that point, 6-time league MVP in his prime as a teammate. And again, this isn't career year, this is playoff run. Like, Jordan and LeBron, 6 times they didn't win a championship, making the playoffs before they won it. The guys who won it, Bird was, 4-year college player, and Duncan had David Robinson. It would just be, Brou, so special just to make the finals, much less to win the championship for Wemby.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you would have to see that to say he's got GOAT potential. I'm not saying he's going to be the GOAT. I'm just saying the potential is there. I don't have to see him win the championship this year to believe it's there.
Okay, your reaction. That's also his guy.
He's right. I mean, I'll be surprised if Nick or you disagree with this. And this is not a slight on Luka, who is legitimately great and outstanding. But I would definitely take Shai over Luka just to build a team. I'd rather have him on my team. And what Chris was talking about, defense, obviously that's Luka's weakness. But SGA is not just a guy out there trying on defense. He's not Steve Nash or Steph Curry who puts forth effort and you give him points for that. SGA is a legitimately top-tier defender. He's 11th in the league in defensive rating individually. He is only one of 2 starting guards in that list of top 11 defenders as far as rating in the league. The other one is Cason Wallace, who's his teammate, who is kind of a starter. I mean, he started most of this year, but that's because Jalen Williams has been out, or that's a lot of the reason. So SGA he's been near the top of the league in steals the previous 2 years. Not as much this year, although earlier he was in the lead for steals. So he's a great defender in addition to all he does offensively, and he's just easier to play with. He doesn't, he's more efficient as a scorer than Luka is as far as his field goal percentage from 2, from 3. He doesn't dominate the ball. Like, when you got one guy that creates everything for everybody, himself and everybody else, that can be tough. Other players, it's harder for them to play at their maximum capability. You don't have that issue with SGA. And so obviously he's won a championship, but that's not even why I'm picking him over Luka. And you can argue, Nick, if you want to say Luka is better, Luka's certainly more spectacular individually on the offensive end. There's no doubt about that. But as far as winning games and building a team, I would definitely rather have SGA.
So here's my question. Is it that, because everything you said, Brou, is fair, but what's also fair is the last guy to beat the Thunder in a series was Luka. That we are 21 months removed from Luka's team playing Shai's team, Luka winning in a season when he averaged 34, 9, and 10 for the year, and then Luka a week later thoroughly outplaying Anthony Edwards in the Western Conference Finals. And I know right now Luka's stock seems to be down, but here, KW, let me ask you this. Do you, and I know you hate these games, but just play along with me.
Here we go.
No, I'm just saying, do you think the Thunder wouldn't have won the title last year if Luka was in place of Shai? Because Brou's right, it's hard to build a team around.
They wouldn't play the same way. If Luka was dribbling the ball the whole time and creating every shot for every player, they wouldn't play the same way.
Well, that's interesting. If Luka wants to play like SGA, but SGA's got a high usage rate too. It's not like SGA doesn't like to dribble the ball.
He shoots it about 20 times a game, but he doesn't over dribble it like Luka.
And don't you guys, though, agree when you're saying the type of team you want to build around Luka is the team Presti is built around Shai? Yeah. Like guys who can defend, guys who can shoot, youth, and I just feel like if you flip-flopped them, the Lakers wouldn't all of a sudden be much better. The Thunder wouldn't all of a sudden be much worse. And Shai is a much, much, much better defender. Luka is a much, much, much better passer and rebounder. And they both are elite scorers. They both are 30-point-a-game scorers. It is hard to say the guy who hasn't won an MVP and hasn't won a championship is better than the guy same age, even though Luka's a tiny bit younger, has. But I just feel like right now their KW, their Q rating or their PR is Luka's is at an all-time low for him and Shai's is at an all-time high.
I usually dislike trading guys and playing hypothetical teams, but I think you make a fair point. So we kicked this around in the meeting. We're going to save it for a full probably segment later on, but I did want to just take your temperature on what we discussed. Oh. Are you flirting with the idea that SGA might have more titles in his future and Luka might not?
Oh, yeah. And again, this is not a slight on Luka. Luka is phenomenal, and he's clearly already a Hall of Famer. But I think, Nick, it's on the table that Luka never wins a championship. I'm not predicting that. This is not Chris Broussard saying Luka's never going to win a ring.
No.
But it is a year ago, I would have said there's no way he's not getting a championship in his career. I think it's possible that he does it now because you and I have talked about this off the air. San Antonio's only going to get better. Mm-hmm. OKC's probably just going to keep getting better. And that's not to mention growth among other teams. And Luka, he's in good shape this year. Maybe he's going to have to get in better shape because as he's getting older, I think it's just going to be challenging for him to win.
So here's why I think they are super behind the eight ball. From an organizational standpoint, you guys know I'm probably, of the three of us, the most down on the Lakers management and infrastructure, and I think it's going to take some time. Like the gap between Presti and Pelinka and Linda Rambis and the Lakers Brain Trust is pretty massive, and so I think that's going to take some working to do by the Walters Group. But here's why, KW, I have a hard time swallowing that. Mm-hmm. I think and this is your favorite part of the show when I mention Elgin Baylor.
Of course.
I think you really have to go back to Elgin Baylor to find an all-time great player who did not drop off at all in the playoffs, who never got a ring. Like, usually, like guys like Harden, Karl Malone, even Barkley to a degree, they weren't consistently quite as good in the postseason as they were in the regular season. The guys who are this caliber of player, who are consistently in the mix, peel one. Even if it's the Dirk path where it looks like, man, they're never going to get one, and then bam, they do. So it would just be, there's not really a precedent for a guy who is this good statistically in the regular season, seemingly gets better, had in the playoffs, had early playoff success with the conference finals and the finals appearance under his belt in his first 5 years of his career. That guy's never going to win a championship. I think they're behind OKC and San Antonio, in the short term and long term, it feels. But it doesn't mean that you can't ever have a year where you get past them.
I buy that. At the same time, if we went back to that other graphic, you don't have to pull it up, Hubs. But this year's a wash, so this year's done.
This is now, what is this year for him? Year 8? Year 7? Year 7 or 8?
2018 draft. So this is year 8, right? Yeah.
Okay, so this will be year 8, and this is a wash. Let's just, for fun, we don't think it's happening next year. And then if I was like, hey, rattle off some guys that you could see getting championships in the next 5 years, you could bang, bang, bang. You're like, I could see the Celtics getting one. I could see the Pistons getting one. And like all of a sudden you're like,
OKC, San Antonio, Denver.
Houston, Denver gets one. Wherever Giannis ends up, if Giannis goes somewhere, and then all of a sudden you're like, are we up around year 11 or 12 for Luka?
Here's
and
the
then
other thing. Here's the other thing, Nick.
Go ahead.
And again, a lot of my issue is with Luka's playing style. And I'm not the first to say this. For years, people have been saying he's Harden, he's James Harden, he does the same thing. And I've said, no, he's different. But we haven't seen a one-man show win a championship. Wilt Chamberlain's 2 years he won the championship, he didn't lead the league in scoring. His scoring dropped, his usage dropped. Jordan, when he was averaging 35 and 37 a game, he didn't win the championship. Yep. LeBron in Cleveland, one-man show, didn't win the championship. Harden hasn't been able to do it. We haven't seen anybody do. Oscar Robertson, he was a one-man show in Cincinnati. He didn't win the championship there. So I just think this style of play, and is Luka capable of playing a little differently? A little differently. Just give me some action when you don't have the ball in your hands. Give me a little more effort defensively. He has to be ball dominant, and that one or two man teams where one or two guy creates everything for everybody generally get beat by 5-man teams when the talent is close. And I think that's the challenge.
History backs you up on that, obviously. That's a really fair point. And the history 100% backs you up. The question is, would Harden have done it if you got regular season Harden in the playoffs? Would they have won, even with his style? Because what hurts Harden in the playoffs isn't just his style; it's that he's no longer James Harden. Right. And so that's Luke is kind of the test case for that.
You guys, the media, have projected that about him not playing. That narrative. When did the Last Dance thing come from? I didn't say I wasn't playing. LeBron said he wasn't. You didn't hear that from me or Steph? Heck yeah, I want to play. I want to still prove I can help the team win. I feel like I'll put my name in the hat. Okay, he wants another gold medal, Brou. Are you buying he can win his 5th?
Well, let me give Kevin Durant credit, too, because he said, the full article, I don't just want to be given a spot. He's legendary enough where you could just put him on there because he's Kevin Durant. Yep. He said, I want to earn it and be able to help. Now, look, this is 2 years away. He'll be 39 years old. Let's see how well he's playing at that point. But the Kevin Durant right now is always going to be a benefit to Team USA. He's the exact type of player you need on these superstar-laden teams because he doesn't dominate the ball. He can just catch it and shoot mid-range three-pointers and give you 20-something points a game and fit totally in with everybody else, whoever they are. And so, Nick, I think it'd be a great benefit to Team USA in 2 years, assuming Durant's still Durant, if he were on the team. So I like his attitude with this.
Listen, also, this has been a tough few weeks for Kevin Durant, of his own doing, no doubt. But I find it endearing how much this dude just loves to hoop.
Yeah.
He just loves to play basketball. It seems to, playing basketball and tweeting seem to be his two real passions, and he is a legend at both of them. Here's the thing, KW, that I think you're going to like. And we could do, as you would say, a whole podcast on this. Man, who's in, who's out?
Love it. Gianna, fire up the podcast. Let's start going.
All right, so Anthony, we're projecting out. Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, who's got a lot of get back coming. Devin Booker. I'm going to project Cooper Flagg.
Yes.
Tyrese Maxey. Jalen Brunson if he wants it. Donovan Mitchell. Jaylen Brown saying, hey, what about me? Cade Cunningham. We're at 10. You only have 12. We don't have a set
I don't
right
think
now.
all 10 of them are making it.
That's
because they're going to build a team,
So,
not just the best individuals.
and I have not even mentioned the following guys who, are on the trajectory, like VJ Edgecombe, Con Knippel, Stephon Castle, your guy LaMelo Ball, my guy Amin Thompson, Chet, Paolo, Jalen Duren if we want more size, Jalen Williams, Scotty Barnes,
Bam.
Evan Mobley, Austin Bam,
taller.
who's already been an Olympian.
we need size.
And I didn't include Anthony Davis or Embiid. Point is this. I agree with you, Brou. If Kevin Durant wants a spot, then I feel like, okay, we have an 11, like there's 11 spots up for grabs if he wants it as far as I just want to be there. But if it's truly based on merit, as great as Durant is, it could be tougher than it looks. Like I just listed 23 guys. And, those guys, most of them are either going to be here, meaning they're maintaining, or they're getting better over the next 2 years. It's hard to imagine KD maintaining this. I mean, maybe he can. He's unbelievable. But I just love how much he wants to, and how much he loves to play basketball, represent Team USA. I think it's sick.
Ravens, Bills, Eagles,
bad guy.
all three of these teams at 10.5, but we'll start in Baltimore, Brou. New coach, same expectations, Bob. The good news here, if you looked at the opponents, 9th easiest schedule. Nice sweet spot. Easy enough to win games, not so easy you get made fun of and people take away your Super Bowl run. Jags, Titans, Bucks, Saints, Chargers in Baltimore, Colts, Texans, Falcons, Panthers, Bills, and a trip to Dallas, which I think we should go to if that's a Fox game. On the road,
I'd love to do
over under 10.5, Brou.
Look, I'll be surprised if any of us say under. All right, so I'm going over. Wow. I think the Ravens are coming back with a vengeance this year. Jesse Minter, I think, is going to bolster that defense, revitalize that defense. I think they're going to play with an energy that they've lacked the last few years, even as they've been, pretty good defensively. We'll see. This might be Derrick Henry's last hurrah. You never know when a running back's going to fall off. He didn't look like it at all last year, but it's coming at some point. But I'm going to assume he's going to be good this year. I think Lamar Nick is going to be excellent. Declan Doyle, look, we assume he learned a lot of stuff under Ben Johnson, right? And so I'm sure he's looking at Lamar like, man, this guy can do all sorts of things. So I bet they come up with some creative stuff. I just think after last season, one of the benefits of that bad season last year is you come into the next year, I would think, with incredible motivation. So I without question, am taking the over on this.
I reserve the right, as we all do, to change this, but I particularly reserve the right to change it if Lamar, the contract situation drags on at all. But assuming Lamar gets the new deal that he wants, I am slamming the over on the Ravens. Paid Lamar is available Lamar. That is what we have seen throughout his history. And I think the new coach is a net positive, even though I also think John Harbaugh going to the Giants is a net positive for them. And I have an announcement, KW. Ooh. And I hate to do this, because usually if you doubt someone and you're wrong, the answer is just keep doubting them, because eventually you'll be right.
Yes.
Eventually it's coming. I'm laying down my metaphorical sword on doubting Derrick Henry.
Smart.
He'll just probably be awesome forever.
Yes. Savvy
Bruce
move.
said the end could be nigh. I might be the Derrick Henry guy now. I mean, it sounds like the real estate's available. So I will take the over for the Baltimore Ravens.
As I tried to be as pessimistic as possible to make the segment interesting.
And you couldn't find the losses.
Bills, could see it.
Yeah.
Texans, Jags or the Chargers. Bengals, and then I had them losing 1 to the Steelers, 1 to the Browns, and that only gets you to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that only gets you to 6. That only gets you to 6.
That's only 6, buddy.
So And I love you losing to the Browns. So I'm slamming the over as well. I think they're going to be excellent. It's the easy schedule, bro. It's a gift.
That AFC South will be interesting, right? Because we expect now the Jags to be good, Houston to be good.
Houston
We'll
will
see
be
with
great.
the Colts. I mean,
Colts will not be good.
Did you have them
And then your
losing to the
team
Texans, KW?
Obviously, the Texans are excellent. I'm huge on the Texans.
You're a Texan.
Well, they're the
You're
best
that
defense of
high
all
on the
time.
Texans?
They were one of the best defenses
So,
ever.
if
CJ
you're
Stroud was
if
an MVP
CJ
candidate.
comes out and plays well, they're going to be a handful.
CJ's going to be
If he
great.
plays well.
CJ's going to. I'm huge on the Texans all year. Head up to Buffalo, new coach and a moderately new spot in the division. Last year was the first time they haven't won the AFC East in 5 years. Here are their opponents: home against the Chiefs,
Tough.
Chargers, Bears, Lions, Ravens.
Wow.
And then on the road, Broncos, Packers, Raiders, Vikings, Texans, and Rams. Obviously,
Tough.
2 games against the Dolphins and the Jets that you pencil in for 4 wins. Over under 10.5 for friend of the show, Josh Allen. Nick, you start us off.
I'm going under. I am not as optimistic about their coaching change, particularly in the regular season, as I am for the Ravens. I also think that same reason I'm worried about the schedule for the Patriots, I'm worried about it for Buffalo, and they don't actually get a ton of benefit for it being second place because, as you know, for instance, they get the second place team in the AFC North. Congrats. Yep. Instead of getting the Steelers, you get the get the Ravens. You get the second place team in the AFC West. Congrats. Instead of getting, or I guess they were going to play the Chargers no matter what. So it's you get the Texans instead of the Jags in the AFC South. Like, none of those are great. You get the Packers instead of the Bears. I don't even know if that's better than the first place schedule. And I do wonder this as well, Brou. As Josh Allen literally limped to the finish line and finished the year in a boot, is this finally the season, not that he misses games, but that he protects himself more in the regular season? And if that lowers their regular season efficiency, even if it makes them more dangerous in the playoffs, because he doesn't want to have a broken foot, come January. So I will go right now, tentatively, in pencil, even though I'm holding a Sharpie, I will go under.
Well, look, 10-7, if that's where you're going, I'm not sure that gets you in the playoffs. And so that's alarming to
Probably
think.
wins that terrible division, Brou. I mean, who else is going to win double digits in that division? Let's be honest.
It's alarming to think they would make it, but we just saw Mahomes and Lamar not make the playoffs in their prime, right?
So you're saying he's due?
He might be
He's
due.
due.
He might be due for a year.
Joe Burrow didn't. Yeah. Great take.
That schedule is scary. I do believe in Joe Brady. I think offensively they are going to be at least as good, if not better. Defensively, I do have questions because they've had injuries in the past, and Sean McDermott being on that side of the ball has been great and kept them afloat defensively. So that is my question mark. But I'm going to take the over for now just because it's hard for me to fathom, coming off that disappointment last year, Josh Allen not getting them into the playoffs.
Friend of the show, I still have them under. Just to expound on what you were saying, because I went through the whole schedule. I know you're trying to freestyle it. We both play that. AFC East plays the NFC North, so we're both got Packers, Bears. But it's Patriots get the Steelers, Bills get the Ravens. Patriots get the Seahawks, Bills get the Rams. Patriots get the Jags,
That's right.
Bills get the Texans. So I could argue that the Patriots have the easier, even though we have to play the Seahawks. Also, defense was their calling card.
Yeah.
They fired their defensive head coach. I don't think they're going to be better at defense unless there's some bounty in the draft or free agency. I think the culture of Buffalo's defensive-led team is gone, bro.
Well, look, they could be better defensively in the playoffs. I would expect them to be better in the playoffs. The question is the regular season. Regular season, they were very good defensively.
And KW.
Not in the postseason.
Thank you for the correction, because you're right. It's the Rams-Seahawks flip-flop.
Yeah.
So you could argue the 3 second-place teams the Bills play are harder than the 3 first-place teams the Patriots play. What the Bills have, as an advantage is they get to play the Patriots while the Patriots have to play the Bills.
Mac Jones beat the Bills. Every Patriots quarterback's beaten the Bills recently. I head down to Philadelphia. Last 5 years, the win totals, 11-14, 11-14, and 9 in Sirianni's first year. Here are their opponents. The over-under's at 10.5. Panthers, Texans, Colts, Rams, Steelers, Seahawks will be in Philadelphia. On the road, Cardinals, Bears, Jags, 49ers, and Titans. Brou, over, under for Jalen Hurts' squad, 10.5.
I won't be shocked if they fall off.
Really?
I won't be shocked if they fall off. I think we'll see if Dallas can bounce back, but I would expect Washington to be better. I expect the Giants to be better. But I do I like Sean Mannion. I know they went through, 50 interviews before they picked their offensive coordinator. But Nick, he's from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. He's worked with a lot of Sean McVay, a lot of other great minds. So I think he could really give that offense a boost. We know the defense is going to be good. I firmly believe the defense is going to be great. The offensive line, can they jump back to being elite? I'm going to go with the over right now with a little bit of hesitation, but I'm going with the over.
KW, Brew's affinity towards Sean Mannion reminds me a lot about his affinity towards Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
Always there, but just quiet.
Had a great year.
Talk a lot about it.
There.
Look at him now.
Ended up being
Newly
correct,
rich.
so shout out. I think this is a hammered under. I hate that they lost Jeff Stoutland. We're going to talk about it later. I believe they're going to lose A.J. Brown. It seems like they have real questions about, even though Lane Johnson seems like he's going to be coming back, a couple of their interior offensive linemen, what's their future because of injuries? Under Howie Roseman, the Eagles have had these periods of sustained excellence and then a disaster year back to excellence. 2012, 4 wins, and prior to that, really good. 2020, 4 wins. It feels like we're about due for a disaster year for Philadelphia. I'm not saying 4 wins, but we talked about how no team had gone back-to-back in the division in more than 20 seasons. I think if they go over, they would be 3 straight. That seems like an almost impossibility in the NFC East. I really like the under for Philadelphia.
Wow. Jalen Hurts wins double-digit games. Over. 10th easiest schedule. I don't come in west.
We're back on the Eagles.
I'm about to be. The stock went really low.
We know your pick is Seattle. We know your pick is Seattle.
I like Jalen Hurts. And the A.J. Brown thing, I forgot who said it. That might be a win-win scenario for Philadelphia and A.J. Brown if he leaves.